This is brilliant. I was so angry after reading this book. It's ridiculous to read. It is Gayatri Prabhu's life. Who am I to review it? If any book that gets banned for some reason is a must-read book. Who says a book has to be around 500 or 600 pages for you to think about the book even more once you're done reading the book, or to basically leave an impact on you so great that you cannot apparently move on from the book or pick something new. Today I bring you all 6 incredibly short books which are below 200 pages accurately, okay? And these books are unforgettable in their own ways. Now these 6 books are all below 200 pages, but they're everything but short. Each of these books have moved something in me in the most unexpected way, and that is the reason I thought that I'd share with you very short books for people who kind of run away from reading books altogether because they feel that books are boring and very long to even invest a little bit of their time. I think these are the books that have the potential to change your thought in a very positive way. And yeah, these are all my personal favorites, and they have stayed with me for longer than I have kind of imagined. So shall we begin? Hi everybody, this is Simran. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, this is Simran, and I have a channel with books, everything almost about books. I also have started posting about vlogs and stuff, so yeah, that is a different miscellaneous part of my channel, but it is majorly about books. So if you are somebody who's like a reader maybe, or who wants to become a reader, or who has fellow friends who are readers and you want to kind of gift them books and stuff, so maybe you can get some help from my channel, because I recommend books here almost every week. I come here almost every week to generously outpour my love for books and to accept all your comments and love in my channel. So yeah, if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick by, and if you really like my content, consider subscribing to my channel, liking the videos, and sharing with your fellow readers and friends and people who have been trusting me since day one. I am extremely grateful to you all. I do not have words to thank you people enough, because you kind of trusted in me so much that you stayed by. And yeah, I hope that I never disappoint you, but if I someday do, please forgive me, because yeah, we all are humans, we make mistakes. But yeah, today's video is for everybody, okay? If you read books, you're gonna love these, and if you read like books vigorously, you might have heard some of these books already on the internet, at least 2 of the very famous books, and one that I have repeatedly mentioned in my channel. So if you've been following me for the longest, you know which books I'm going to talk about. And if you know somebody who loves reading but are scared and they scurry off from reading books because of the sizes of the book, I think this video is for you. So you could probably buy these books, or at least one of the books, and gift it to your friends so that they are grateful to you, because they surely will be. Now, too much of bug done. Let's move on to the video. So the very first book is a very well loved, very well known, and it is also adapted from the book into a movie by I forgot the director's name. It is starring Cillian Murphy, and he is one of the most favorite characters. I would not say characters, but actors, and that is one of the major reasons why I watched the adaptation in the first place, and I think it did justice to the book. Although the book is obviously a little better, I will always be biased towards books no matter how good the adaptation is, but I think Cillian Murphy did justice to the character here. And the book that I'm talking about is Claire Keegan's Small Things Like This. This is like this is of 110 pages only, like 110 pages. When I first saw the book, or when I first bought the book, I thought that I would read it in a single sitting because of the number of pages, obviously, and the font obviously is not like very tiny to make it feel like it's longer. But when I started reading the book, it almost felt like it was not ending, not because of the length or the context of the book, but I think the story is quiet. You understand me? The story is extremely quiet. It's very serene, like it does not has a lot of chaos in it, so it's like a normal family drama. But when you sit down with the book, once you're done reading it, you kind of have a realization that this book is all about the choices that you make in your life, the conscious choices, when actually nobody around is watching you, the kind of goodness that is not too loud but costs almost everything. So it kind of made me question myself a lot of things. A lot of self-awareness was raised by this book, although it's fiction, but let me tell you, there was not a single word that was misused. There was not a single word that basically felt like an extra, task for you to read, but everything felt like the book was in need of every word and every sentence in this entirety. It has beautiful writing. The family drama is so beautiful and wholesome. The main character, I think his name was Guy, if I'm not wrong. I am not sure. Yeah, Bill Furlong. Sorry, I think it's Bill Furlong. Yeah, Bill Furlong. And it is set against 1985 in an Irish town, and the vibe is so Christmassy, so cold. It is like very cozy. It's a very feel good book. By the end, there's so much to learn from this character known as Bill Furlong. And I read it with a lot of other people. It was a buddy read with a lot of other people, and I think we had a blast of a conversation. We were talking about whatnot about this book, and I think that this book deserves all the love that it has received, and the adaptation is beautifully done. So if you're somebody who is still reluctant to read the book, or maybe who is not yet convinced if you should be picking the book, despite me being so blabberish all the time, I think you may also consider watching the movie, because the movie is equally good. Okay, the next one is another very creepy, eerie, and nail biting kind of recommendation. Nail biting, not in the sense of a thriller, but you would always be so irritated, or maybe there's something about the book that I'm still having this jittery feeling in me. So I have spoken about this book earlier, and again, when it comes to books below 200 pages, this book definitely deserves the space here, because first thing, it is extremely pacey. You would not want to put the book down despite the book making you feel uncomfortable in many ways. Second thing, it is Japanese, maybe. Yeah, it is Japanese literature, so I know a lot of people love Japanese literature, and if you love Japanese literature, you cannot miss on this one. So the book is Nails and Eyes by Kaori Fujino. You must have seen me talk about this book a lot many times, and I got this recommendation from BookTube itself. I can't remember the booktuber's name, I forgot. But yeah, I saw this recommendation, and the title itself was so fascinating. I instantly bought it. The moment I received it, I started reading it, dropping everything that I was reading at that moment, and I think it was worth it. I rated it a 4-star. And the most bizarre part of the book is it's very calm. Okay, it's very calm, but at the same time it makes you feel so uncomfortable and eerie because of the atmosphere or the setting of the book. First thing. Second thing, it's weird. It's horribly weird. It's ridiculous to read, but it's ridiculously good. So I don't know if I'm making sense. Ever since I read this book, I knew that I would never be wearing any kind of contact lenses ever in my life, because I now have a notion that something is going to happen if I wear a contact lens. I mean, the book does not necessarily surround around all the contact lenses concept, but it has elements of creepiness by contact lenses. So it's weird. It's extremely weird, but it's extremely good. So it's equally weird and good. It has a balance of everything. I love this. And when you read this book, you already know that it's Japanese, because it has an essence of it. So if you love books written by Japanese authors, I think you cannot miss Nails and Eyes by Kaori Fujino. You will not be able to put it down. It basically made me think about the unspoken tensions at home, and the way children, they absorb everything when we think that they don't. I don't know, if I say a little bit more, I am sure to spill something that I think is going to be spoilers, so let it be. So yeah, this is the next one. The third is my most favorite reads of this year, one of my most favorite reads. It's a 6-star read from 2025 so far, and I will not change my verdict ever again, because I love this book so much. I have spoken about it a lot many times, so if you have already seen me on this channel for the longest, you know that this book is not going to be a surprise for you, because you should have been expecting this book in this video. And the book is There Was No One at the Bus Stop by Shirshendu Mukhopadhyay, set in Kolkata in 1970s. And this book basically felt like watching the world in slow motion, everything at its own simple and slow pace. It's about stillness, about not knowing what you're waiting for, but you're waiting anyway. The loneliness discussed in this book through the character Trina is so palpable that it almost feels like it's your own loneliness. It's like my own loneliness. It is me. Trina is me. I have already repeatedly mentioned about me being so close to Trina, as if I ever go to Calcutta and give her a call, she, not being the fictional character that I know she is, but being a, like, normal human character, would answer my call and ask me to meet her at her place, maybe, or somewhere outside, hang out. I mean, she's so real. She almost feels like either she's you know what I mean, like a mirror character, or she is somebody that you know personally, like somebody who have been through the loneliness in a way that she shared with you everything that you are so personal to her, like a personal diary. She feels almost like that. So Trina as a character in this book is so close to my heart. I cannot even tell you, like, every time I talk about this book I cannot stop myself, because if you haven't read There Was No One at the Bus Stop, I don't know what you've been doing. And most importantly, the fact that this book was written in Bengali, Bangla, and then it was translated into English by Arnav Sinha. I think Arnav Sinha as a translator is a chef's kiss on his own. I can only imagine how good this book will feel if I could, give this book a read in its original language. I don't know if I'll be able to, but English, it has the essence, okay? Everything smells like Calcutta, everything in this book, because I've been to Calcutta a lot, many times now. When I read this book, I can basically see myself there, standing in the alleys of Kolkata streets, and everything about this book is beautiful. I love this book. If you love me, read this book. If you haven't picked any book recommendations from my end yet, start with this one. It's very short. It is just of 121 pages. This is brilliant. The next one is a collection of short stories that I did talk about a long time ago. I don't remember talking about this book ever in my channel. I don't know. If I did, let me know in the comments. But yeah, the book is again by an Indian author, and it is the Adivasis Will Not Dance collection of short stories. So it is by Hansda Sovendra Shekhar. I remember reading it in 2019, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, first things first, this book was banned in India. The government obviously did not want the world to know and read about this book, because it talks a lot about casteism and partiality, maybe, or being racist and neglecting the lower caste communities in a fictional way. But it does not feel like fiction at all to me. It is as if it happened, and it did happen, and it must be happening in some parts of the world, in some part of the country even now. It is basically set in Jharkhand. A lot of people still have this mindset of not kind of thinking everybody to be the same, but we obviously differentiate even now on the basis of caste. So this book basically discusses that. It's extremely raw and very thought-provoking, and because it's a short story collection, so you get to see a lot of villages in the book and a lot of different characters and different stories. It is quite tragic, unbelievable to an extent, and heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I was so angry after reading this book because of the fact that this kind of brewed a rage in me against the higher class people who think themselves higher for some weird reason, but they are the most stupidest human beings on this planet. So a lot of emotions kind of evoked in me after read this book, and although it's fiction, but it's not fiction. So if any book that gets banned for some reason is a must-read book. So if you ever get a chance to buy more books, pick The Adivasis Will Not Dance by Hansda Sovendra Shekhar, and do not kind of procrastinate when it comes to this book. It's very important. It's an important read. The fifth one is my latest favorite book. So by latest favorite, I mean the book that I read before I left for the trip that I went to. I have also vlogged about the trip, so do not forget to check my description or maybe the I button for the vlog. The book that I'm talking about is a Korean cult classic, and when Hachette kind of approached me with the book, I did not know what to expect from the book. I was expecting a thriller, obviously, because it sounded as such, but the premise of the book is so interesting. Like, the blurb was so interesting when I first read it, when they sent it to me via mail. I was like, you know what, I need a physical copy of the book. And surprisingly and fortunately, I found another all-time favorite books of mine, and the book is Hunger by Choi Jin Young. When I first posted about this book, which not about this book, but one of the quotes from the book. And I posted this: I ate a person, a human being. Is that a sin? Here. And people bombarded me with DMs asking which book is it. It is Hunger by Choi Jin Young. It is originally written in Korean and translated by Soje. And let me tell you, I have never read a book that has so much to give to the humanity. Okay, it kind of teaches so many lessons to you, like small lessons. The book is wholesome in its own way. It has beautiful writing, the characters are lovable, and like, you know, you feel pity for the characters. So it's sad, it's tragic, it's like magical, it's eye-opening, thought-provoking to an extent that you would not imagine in your wildest imagination. I read this book in a single sitting, and when I say in a single sitting, I mean it. I sat down with the book, I picked the book, I started reading it one fine evening, and there was no looking back. I only got up once I was done reading the book, and I'm not even making this up, because this book is so good and so like edge of the seat like, so you kind of never feel like getting up. You feel that everything can wait, but this book, it cannot. And there was a time, you know, when I reached maybe say 110 or 11 pages, I was left with only this number of pages, and I did not feel like reading it, because I knew I can read it in a single spree, but it will obviously come to an end, and I didn't want it to come to an end. I just wanted to keep on reading it. And how much I wish that this book was longer than it is. But let me tell you, despite being so small, this book delivers everything. The story has a lot many other things as well, but the most prominent aspect of the book is about poverty and about the helplessness of people that they live through daily. Nothing about this book is dramatic, so there's no dramatic twist if you expect that, and no resolution as such. Okay, and I think that is why the book hits so hard. It's very painful to read the book, because how it begins like a girl eating her own partner once he's dead, because she kind of wants to keep every bit of him in her. So imagine the creepiness that it begins with, and that is how exactly the book ends. But I mean, I'm still getting goosebumps when I'm talking about this book. I love Hunger, and I think sometimes when publishers, they send me books, I kind of keep them aside because I'm reading something important. But I'm so glad that I didn't keep this one aside. One of the best books that I've ever read, not just this year, but ever in all my life or in all my reading career. Like, if you have to trust me with book reviews, please consider reading this one. But yes, if you are somebody who are not ready to read a little bit of a gross aspect of the book, because obviously it has a little bit of cannibalism, if you can tolerate a little bit of it, because obviously the book entirely is not based around that, but if you can tolerate a little bit of it, you are going to get through a gem of a book. And if you're somebody who are very sensitive about all of those things, so it is not for you. It is brilliant, it is mind-bending, and I cannot exaggerate enough. So yeah, the last book, which is the sixth book, I have also spoken about this book, not like a lot many times, but I think this is the only non-fiction book in this list. And it is non-fiction, it is more like a memoir, and it is, if I had to tell it again, by Gayatri Prabhu, a memoir. And I was gifted this copy by a fellow bookstogrammer. I can't remember her name, and I was very surprised to receive this book, because I was not aware of this book in the first place, not aware of the author, and I received it long back. So I was just into reading non-fictions that moment, and once I read this book, I was grateful to her for sending it to me, because memoir generally are books that you cannot first thing rate, because it is Gayatri Prabhu's life. Who am I to review it? But when I read it, I was like, you know what? This is pure tragedy. This is so sad and depressing to read. I mean, I was just truly and wholeheartedly wondering what this author must have been through in all her life. Like, this is maybe one part of her existence, but imagine everything about her life, everything about her existence altogether. I was so sad. I just wanted, if only I could meet the author, hug her for once. This book did not just feel like a normal book. This book felt like kind of holding somebody's very tragic memory in both my hands, exactly like this. It's basically about a complicated father-daughter relationship, but more than that, it is about understanding the grief that has no name. This book kind of made me feel grateful for the family that I have. But unfortunately, the truth is we cannot choose our families. We are born into a family and we endure everything in the family, like the goods and the bads and the flaws and everything. And I think when I read this book and I think about this book, I feel that my family is extremely supportive and everything, but I feel ever so grateful for my family, for my parents, for my father, like because this book deals with the complications between a relationship between a father and a daughter. So I feel in that context I am extremely grateful, and my relationship with my father, touchwood, is amazing. So when you read this book, I obviously could not relate, but I was feeling extremely pity for Gayatri for going through so much. Like, you know, what do we call it? Like the generational trauma. Like her father was in depression, then she kind of went through the same route. So if you think that you have read the saddest book ever written, which is, I don't think you have, because if this is sad, I don't know what you're going to do after you read this book, only if you understand it. So there are portions that you might not understand. It's not in the fictional context. It is obviously a non-fiction book, a memoir. If you want to read this book, I obviously suggest that you read other books by Gayatri Prabhu. There's a poetry collection. I am not being able to recall at this point. You can also start with that one, and then maybe you kind of get accustomed to the author, you get introduced to the author, and then you read her story. So yeah, that is what I would suggest. This is of 185 pages, and this does not feel any shorter when you start reading it. It is very heavy. It is very heavy. Despite the page count, you should be aware that some of these books basically are not as the page count, but they are quite sad, quite heavy, that you would obviously not be reading. You would not be able to read basically in a single sitting because obviously of the context. But again, if you are somebody who gets intimidated by the number of pages of a book, then I think these are the books that you can go ahead with. And yeah, so with this we come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching this video, or if you could take one recommendation from this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel, and yeah, sharing it with fellow friends and family who loves reading. They might also get one recommendation from this collection, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, happy reading. Let me know what you are reading at this point, or what was the last book that you bought, so that we can have a chit chat in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.